Welcome everyone to our third roundtable exploring automation and the future of work. Our previous roundtables have examined impacts on specific industry sectors. First, we did transportation and then retail, and today's roundtable will explore federal policy solutions. I want to thank Spencer Overton and the Joint Center for Political and Economic Studies for his work in research and leadership in this area. We gained a number of perspectives from our previous panels. Specifically, we learned that technology is already transforming work. However, there remains a great deal of uncertainty and disagreement about how fast automation, artificial intelligence, and robots will be adopted and how they will impact jobs and the labor market. Some analysts take a benign view of the impacts. They argue that we've always had technology and the economy is flexible enough to quickly adjust, and others think that this is actually different, and they draw on past experience, concluding that every expanding human wants and technologies itself, everything that we want and technology itself have always created enough new jobs to offset losses. On the other side, some experts say that they believe that this time is in fact different. They contend that job displacement from new technologies will be quantitatively different, and large-scale adoption will happen so rapidly that people will not be able, in fact, to adopt. All of this will generate what they call shocks to the labor market, displacing large number of workers. So there is general agreement, however, that low-skilled workers and workers of color will be the most likely to be adversely affected. These workers have traditionally suffered from large losses and had the most difficulty recovering when automation eliminates their jobs. Automation is therefore going to be a major impact on income inequality, making things worse before they can get better. Now, it's too early to tell who is right, but regardless of how fast technologies ultimately change the labor market, we do know that this time is different because our labor institutions are fundamentally different. Over the past few decades, for example, poor policy choices have eroded the foundations of our labor market institutions and their ability to respond to sudden disruptions. Trade with China illustrates one of the weaknesses. Specific job and wage losses hit certain workers and communities after China's entry into the World Trade Organization. Losses have been lasting because these workers and communities simply could not absorb the sudden large-scale loss of jobs because of Chinese imports. Scholars have described this as the China shock. The shock and its impact were not predicted by advocates of China's interest in the WTO. They reasoned that most U.S. workers were in different markets than their Chinese counterparts. Further, they argued that the U.S. labor markets would create new and even better opportunities for the few workers who might lose jobs. But what actually happened, it didn't follow that optimistic script. Instead of being benign, the China shock has resulted in many workers and communities having their jobs disappear and new opportunities never materialize. Are the U.S. market institutions prepared for the coming automation shock? Our experience with the China shock tells us no. Now is the time we should be shoring up the foundations of our labor market institutions so that they can better absorb what's coming. Our experts today will discuss what the federal government can and should do to ensure the future work is inclusive, equitable, and leads to increasing standards of standards of living for most Americans. This panel will explore policy proposals such as preserving the employer-employee relationship in lieu of independent contracting, promoting worker inclusion technology adoption, and expanding the safety net to improve labor mobility. Robotics, automation, and artificial intelligence hold the promise of transforming our lives for the better, improving productivity, and raising the standards of living, but such promise can only be realized if we actively shape the future of work. Renewing our labor market institutions is at the heart of that effort. And we look forward to hearing from our experts.